Is a woman that goes by the name of Alien Trash Kitty, and she's frequently in my feed, even though I do not follow her. I guess Facebook thought that I would like her because she's into cars and she puts pictures and videos of herself naked on the internet. I do not particularly uh, throw myself at any old woman, not that ATK is an old woman. Um, and this little video is going to be about photography and Mother's Day, something like that. I don't know. So we're going to look at her in this photograph and this composition and stuff like that. Um, because there is a real requirement amongst pornography producers to have good photography skills, or like just know how to frame something. um I'm not going to draw on the screen or anything like that, I know, but we're going to critique this photo. Not ATK, I barely know the woman. Anyways, if we're going to start with a photo critique, especially, um I don't know, I just picked this one at random. um I'm not a big fan of tattoos, like lots of tattoos. I'm really not. Um, I think they're gratuitous and they're juvenile, and I associate them with prison time. So tattoos are not really something I particularly uh, highly search for when it comes to a female partner, or any kind of partner. Really, I don't surround myself with people that seems to be like a thing, right? Like people who get tattoos versus people who don't. Um, in ATK, Kitty here, she has a number of them, including some on her midsection and like inner pubis, and below her bust. The old torso. Um, but if I were to have taken this photograph, I would have not included the fire alarm or some other things. Like the color scheme is it's attractive, yeah. So like a pinkish red, a white, and a black, that's a really classic combination. um as far as exposure or f-stop or whatever else, it's just like it's not the democratization, but the mass proliferation of cameras, um that didn't only expose or give opportunity to more people to take photographs, but also gave more potential, or also opened up more potential for terrible photographs, and it made it even harder. So that's exactly how I feel about other visual arts. And so my mom and I, we just sat down, we watched this thing about Stephen Shore, and Stephen Shore he's a great photographer. He's really good. Um, and what separates a good photograph from a bad photograph? Honestly, it's how much you can evoke um, a memory, or a memory association, or a sentiment, or just doing something. If you're having something in the frame that allows the viewer or the user to be passively interactive with it. Looking at a photograph does not require active engagement in which you have to um, put your inputs into it. There's this whole techie, uh, high processing power, high electricity stuff, is just not as powerful as we think it is. It's just a real dichotomy between fragility and potency. Um, I don't. I don't think she really gave a shit in this photograph. It probably doesn't in a lot of her photographs. So let me just look at some other ones. And this is like her Mother's Day set. Yeah, I don't hate her. I don't hate you. But we are so oversaturated. This is what I'm talking about with her her tattoo down there and like the bats. I gotta say to her credit, at least she didn't get a chess piece. I've seen so many terrible chess pieces on women, and it doesn't get any better. It's just like, oh my god, it's like terrible. I don't know how I would keep going. I would have sued. Honestly, I would have sued. It's not going to be me. I would have sued the person that the artist. Yes, and the other thing is that ATK she does do some acrylic paintings. I do acknowledge this. I do understand it's not easy to fight um the onslaught of mediocrity. It hasn't changed over the years in order to be some sort of creative and like frolicking, free spirited person. Um, I'm just gonna go back to that first photograph here. This one. Um, what more can I say? It's not uh it's not a provocative picture. It's just like blam. I just pressed the button and that's what came out. The low effort kind of spam, quite frankly. That's the way I look at a lot of this. Is like someone left um the multi shot, like didn't let go of the button. They just let it go for 50 fucking years, and then you're like, oh, that's a movie. It's not photography anymore, or something like that. Um, what am I going to say? Furthermore, like from that, um, no, I don't have much else to say. I just think it's kind of bland. I think it was low. A lot of these are low effort snaps, which is fine. You know, whatever. What? It's as if the model is interchangeable. There's only so many poses that you can put someone through. Uh, and it's just like, oh, we'll fix it in post. We'll change the all of the stuff in post processing, yada yada yada. And it's just not the same anymore. It's like the golden age of photography is long gone. Or people have said that before about other artistic mediums. Like it just doesn't have the permanence. And again, it's the saturation thing, right? Like if I'm not sure I would even recognize her on the street, or if I would even say hello. Um, all of us in our highly uh customized uh capsules, right? Like that's kind of what I exist in now. Most of the time is a room surrounded by all my work, and like you know that says a lot of things. Um, I got nothing else to say about the photograph by itself, but I will say that I do tend to look um for women, and I have dated women in the past that are similar to my mother. Our parents are our first imprint, and hopefully you had a father, or a good father or a mother to to be influenced by, but that's not always the case. And even more so in my generation or later. Let's just skip this. Uh, that there was a lot more divorces in it. That could lead to bad influences or just a rebellious nature. I don't know. Let's look up Steve Smith, not Stevie Smith, Stephen. Okay, Stephen Shore. So this was the video that my mom and I watched. Oh no, it didn't pop up. Here about Stephen Smith. This one, right? It's just a bunch of empty spaces, right? But that's the point, in the same way in which
Take a look at this photograph.
that one. Let's look up in the same way that Edwin Hopper. This is a bit of roulette here. Oh, this is about the fountain. This thing in San Francisco that they're tearing down. So Steph Shore. But I was gonna say Edwin Hopper, but let's look at more of his stuff here. Is Stefan, and why, as there's a difference between something that ATK and her husband takes, versus something that is far more poignant. This was in the video. I really like this. It reminds me of some people. It's not like I'm without emotions. You got this Sisyphean task of trying to get through to people and capture their attention, and then influence them to either like you or to do what you were asking for. I don't know what that's going into clutter and stuff like that. Let's look at another one of his. Edward Hopper was married to a redheaded woman, so he's a fellow pumpkin smasher, or was. So let's look at Edward Hopper. Yeah, Josephine. Josephine is said to be the person, or the redheaded woman in more than a few of his paintings. Especially, like, and most notably the Nighthawks, where she just appears to be so indifferent. Um, I had this dream, that I could be in love with another artist. There's a couple of those within. Here we go. This is Josephine. There's a couple of those in Canadian art. Most notably the it's slipping my mind right now. Pratt, that's it. Christopher Pratt and his wife, Mary Pratt. No, I don't want to put my face in this right now. Okay. Let's look up Mary Pratt. Cuz say a photographer and a painter get together, right? That could make something really significant. but it's as if sometimes the ego gets in the way, and one of the people doesn't want to continue the relationship anymore out of just jealousy for success or something like that, or it becomes something political, quite honestly, and that's really tragic. Um, she's really fantastic as far as the art that she's made. I don't know a whole lot about her. Um, it's just to have those mason jars and the volume of the light, right? The luminosity. Um, Now, I might have mentioned this, and this is going on until like 16, 20 minutes now, looking at photographs. Is that my mom, she used to do some freelance photography. And I would say I was in love with a woman that was, she really loved photography. And that's one of the things that I admired about her, was her artistic pursuits. But life has a way of having its way with you, and the things that you don't think are a big deal are a really big deal to someone else, even though they're probably insignificant, and it causes so much friction that it just boils over. It's like it's a whimper. It's the whimper. It's not the bang. It's a whimper. Um, look at this. Look at this. It's just a simple composition of a family table, right? And the of course it's not the image that gives the image meaning. It's our connection, or the connotations, like the influences and the context as to why and what is significant, and why would you bother, right? Like what was so important about the family table? Like what tradition did this family table uphold with its half-eaten orange and hot dog and a nearly empty ketchup bottle? Um, again, the significance of Hopper and of Stephen Shore was, again, is the absence of people. This is the Mighty Beans thing. I don't know. I deleted that video. I was gonna do a thing about Mighty Beans, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. What's the point? People, associate value with some very strange things. Let's look at. And this was Christopher Pratt. You see what I'm talking about here? It's again, it's the story behind the image, but that means you have to have a greater degree of understanding behind psychology. And sometimes, if you learn about psychology, you get really mad with power and manipulating other people because you didn't have it before, and all of a sudden now that you have it, and then you become this tyrant. And this is showing the Hollywood actor Christopher Pratt, which shares the same name. But I did a thing about Christopher Pratt, and why his artwork is significant, beyond all of the other reasons why it's significant. Life in Newfoundland and all that stuff, all that jazz. Now, we're up to 20 minutes, so I'm going to try and end this here. Why this? Like, why Stefan Shore? And my mom and I were watching this thing about him, and then I brought up the woman. I don't remember exactly where she lived, but she was an amateur photographer, and she pretty much took photographs for most of her life. And when she passed, there was this huge archive of photographs as a documentarian, right? Like, she was just a housewife. That's a very important place in the world. It is. It really is. I would have to say, a house is not a home until you have a woman. It's just it's kind of just a storage unit until then. It's like all this stuff is here, what am I enjoying it for still? Like the last of my old things. Yeah, I think I've said everything I want to say. And that's usually a good point to stop making a video instead of trying to demand that people watch a 25-minute video about my feelings and 3 different examples of photography and of composition. Anyways, I hope you watched this one. If you didn't, then you're amongst 7 billion other people that haven't. So it's not like you're special. Thanks. Tune in next time.